Hey, greetings, everybody. Welcome to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigations Tarot. I'm beaming love and heart space out to all of you. Just hoping everybody's doing well. I want to just say again, gratitude to all the many Christians who've helped me through this with prayers, solving cases, working together, etc., and putting up with me when I've been ornery. Okay. I really, truly appreciate it. Much calmer today. Obviously, I felt a little bit passionate yesterday. And yes, I am going to use what happened to me to solve some things that need to be resolved. But that's yesterday. Today's day. I'm doing great. Had an interview. Might get a job. We'll see what goes on, right? Not going to say where, because I don't need any help along that path. All right. Well, I've decided I'm going to focus for a little while on upcoming eclipse energy because those are the movements that are really, really powerful. And I'm using the nation's chart. But if your life is really embroiled in the national story, some of this will certainly resonate with you. Most especially the one with the lunar eclipse happening in October 28th of 2023. If you're a Taurus or a Scorpio, there's probably going to be some profound impacts, especially if you are embroiled in the country's story, right? So I'm doing this because, again, this gives people a little bit of time to prepare, to think about things, to pay attention to what's happening. To see, if what I'm saying actually pans out and comes true, but also so we can mentally prepare and choose wisely. Okay, that's the other part of the seeing is to try to do our best to react well to the energies that are coming. I don't make the energy up. I read what I see. It's like a map, right? So I don't make it up. Now, I might throw in examples that I feel are pertinent to what's happening, but the energy itself speaks for itself. So I don't, steer that. I just read what the symbols have to say to me. So you have to understand that. And also over the years that I've done this, I've gotten into Sabian symbols, which reflect an interpretive meaning for every degree point in astrology. And I really like a website by Dane Rudhyar called Mindfire, and he gives a meaning for particular degree points. I reference those in my own stuff, and I want to point out that those are his interpretations, not mine, right? So again, some of them are going to be very pointed in it. And I have found the reason I've stuck with it over the years is because they do tend quite often to bring the story home, right? If I didn't, again, see the truth in what I was doing, I wouldn't bother. So, but again, don't get upset by what's said. Just reflect on it. Recognize it's not my message. It's a message that I'm pulling from a particular website. And in fact, I'm not giving these messages to cause ill feelings at all. I'm just looking ahead, right? And if for any reason this gets too antsy for you, like too much energy or makes you feel scared, don't watch, right? It's not meant to do that. I know at times I have done that myself, when I see big events coming that could impact me, it's easy to get entangled and to be afraid, but that's not the purpose of astrology. The purpose is to help you to see what's coming, to choose wisely, to use the energy for the good of all as much as you possibly can. And again, I'm reading from the nation's chart. So I'm going to do it over several days because, again, it's a lot to go through. I know it can be mind-boggling, especially if you aren't used to the verbiage and all of that stuff. So I'll try to break it down. But this is going to be the October 28th, 2023 lunar eclipse. And that tends to bring a lot of things to light. So, okay. All right. we're going to start off. When powerhouse Pluto, okay, and remember, we've been talking about Pluto a lot because it's really pivotal right now in our nation's undergoings. So when powerhouse Pluto crosses the sun in a square, expect explosive events to unfold that have everything to do with power struggles, dark secrets, taboos, willpower, and domination desires. Those who have been living outside of natural laws will face a great deal of contention with authority figures at this time. Actions you've taken will be held accountable, and this could cause a great deal of anxiety and turmoil. The worst thing you could do at this time is to rebel. Abuses of power will create serious backlashes. Government systems that are not working well at present could break down under the pressure as a result. Again, I'm not making this up or just, pulling this out of a hat. This is what the energy read tells me, okay? Now, rituals, ceremonies, power, money, and taboos are all going to come to a cataclysmic crossroad during this eclipse. Are we using our wills and soul purpose effectively? Are you trying to enforce your will to the point that it is crashing you into towers and toxic power struggles that run afoul of the very power structures that are meant to support our country? So extreme abuses of power sure to come out under this light and the tension of this square. And this is all for good purpose because we have to start looking at the things that are chaining and binding us. Okay. All right. So we are going to have to be looking at a lot of things. Now, when this volatile configuration happens, the sun will be surging through Scorpio at 4 degrees. According to the Mindfire website, this has much to do with the power of ceremonies and how various images can impact cultures profoundly. Okay. And as our country has kind of lately fallen into a pit of filth and human degradation, some of those images will have to do with exploiting children and innocent women and families for profit. Now, as if this energy is not volatile enough, Pluto will also be square the moon at this same time at 23 degrees of Aries. This moon falls into the 4th house of our homeland. The potent implications of this square will rile the public with its emotional content. What has been hidden in the dark will be revealed. Dark feelings, sudden urges, and impulses could explode. I'm just warning so you can get a handle on things, right? How we harness this energy is up to us. We could all choose to go deeply within to analyze our emotions, our beliefs, public images, and how we view and treat women. This could be an appropriate use of the eclipse, for the moon has everything to do with the feminine in our society. Mothers, daughters, wives, sisters, aunts, and grannies. Again, I'm not making this up to fit my story. It just is what it is, right? Whether we explode or go inward and reflect, like we see here, is up to us. Either way, expect emotions to run very high at this time. For some, difficulties with pregnancies could occur as women near the end of their birthing cycle. And certainly there will be some women who will be, nearing term at this point. Now, power struggles over or between women could also occur. And the issues that result will impact families, our homeland, and the female figures in our lives. So you can see kind of like a little bird fight going on here. Publicity of certain events could force us into emotional self-confrontations. Since the moon is opposing the sun, emotional struggles and the will to dominate could also cause conflicts between men and women at this time to erupt as family members try to manipulate one another using forceful battle-like tactics to get what they want in a conniving manner. Power struggles and subversive tactics are certainly highlighted. So there's going to be a little bit of a battle going on, which is kind of typical for eclipses. Pluto tends to bring out dark and powerful forces in whatever it connects with. In this case, it is roughly connected to both the male and female energies of the US's chart. The underbelly of relationships will need to be confronted squarely. And dark emotions like jealousy, greed, and a desire for power over others will cause heavy conflicts to surface. This is my jealousy card. You can see she's got the swords out. She's ready to go at it, right? Now, Pluto will also be roughly squaring the nodes at this time. Those are the nodes of the moon. This is really important. Whenever this occurs, again, this is my worldview, God is sending us a message. And he's telling us we have missed an important evolutionary step that is causing us issues as a nation. This could have to do with how we view the power balance between men and women, because we've got the exact opposition happening, right? It could also reveal how corrupt politicians, businesses, and organizations that deal with families and children are letting us down by not having better laws in place. We will also be asked to examine the structures of power, such as DOJ, to see if they are actually delivering justice. Or have they become basically a corrupt tool for secret societies and politicians to the point that they are actually harmfully impacting families and society itself by not upholding their oath and duty? Okay, that's a question I think we really need to answer right now. Are we wise enough to resolve the tension of this square with wisdom? That remains to be seen. But again, the seeds that we plant at this time will impact the evolutionary path of our nation for the next 248 years. So we need to choose very wisely. It's time for us to look at where we are from a higher perspective. And again, obviously, I very much believe in all of this. But if you look back, we started our country in 1776, and it was to toss out corrupt Tory judges and various officials that were so bought and paid for, they couldn't do the right thing. And here we are at the end of that cycle, and we're exactly back where we are. Now, you could say that's just purely an accident, or you could imagine perhaps there's something going on, right? But we're right back where we started, only now we're the corrupt ones, right? Okay. Now, at the time that this square is occurring, Pluto will be trining Uranus at 21 degrees of Taurus in the fifth house. A trine is an easy flow of information and energy. It tends to share information easily for good or ill will. The fifth house rules not only over creativity, hobbies, and love affairs, but also over children. This Sabian symbol for this encourages us to discern the parts of our belief system and culture that are meaningful and powerful. Okay, this easy flow of information will encourage sudden, dramatic, and changes that impact us in a very profound manner. I suspect this will play out via child protective services and regulations due to abuses, because again, God likes to watch out over children, right? And Neptune is also how we connect with God. So, how vulnerable children are treated in orphanages, halfway houses, and various other institutions is likely to come up for review. Law enforcement investigations that reveal similar patterns of abuse will be revealed and will thus be used to create positive change. Meanwhile, organizations that abuse their power over children or nebulous laws will be held accountable. That's my gut feeling. Now, Pluto, that powerhouse, is going to be sextile this Neptune at 25 degrees of Pisces at the same time that all of this other action is going down. So we will be called upon to think strongly about our values as a nation and to make powerful changes as problems become illuminated. Value systems that no longer work should crumble. We'll also be examining closely the thoughts that we put into the collective consciousness, right? Because we all swim in the same pool of water. We're all one drop. We're all basically from the same energy source. So, and the collective consciousness is this great pool of thoughts that surrounds us all and that we all contribute to daily. This is important because this particular Neptune is swimming through the third house of communications. And as a result, that which surfaces is likely to make it onto the news. Now, here where we go into the Sabian symbols. And again, this is not my take on things. This is straight from another website. So I'm not, making things up. The Mindfire website for Sabian symbols, which decodes the astrological signs in order to attribute specific meaning to each point on the wheel, is very clear regarding what Neptune at 25 degrees in Pisces is all about. Remember, on a high vibe, that Neptune that we just saw is how we connect to God, okay? That's our connection to the divine. And here's what Mindfire says. A religious organization succeeds in overcoming the corrupting influence of perverted practices and materialized ideals. These words are theirs, not my personal thoughts. If you can take what they say at face value and make course adjustments, then we can all move the collective consciousness, which is a third house matter, into a more positive direction. In essence, again, in my worldview, God is asking us to elevate our thought patterns, how we communicate about certain things, and to change our value system so it is more in alignment with holiness. Okay? So we want to bring things into, a better energy system so that it looks, more loving and kind and decent, right? Again, these are not my personal opinions or feelings. It's just the energy read of what I'm seeing in the planets and how I approach my particular craft. It's as if God is trying to teach us a cosmic lesson with the story he has written in the stars. Certainly with Neptune being powerfully influenced by Pluto, mystical thoughts and beliefs will come to the forefront, right? And as things get revealed, you may find truth and enlightenment in what you learn at this time. Okay, you can see kind of the enlightenment waves all around this person, right? Spiritual dimensions and value systems will join forces, and those who are manipulating things for money, power, or control will be confronted by the authorities. Epiphanies regarding spiritual practices are going to emerge. What we put into the collective consciousness impacts our bodies, minds, and souls. It's like the songs of whales. Whatever the songs they sing, it reverberates throughout all of that ocean pool of the collective, right? And for some, sadly, I believe those who have gone against the grain are now experiencing the repercussion of things coming back. And for that, I'm truly sorry, right? I don't wish ill will on anyone, even the people that have done me the most harm of all. I'm more interested in protecting families and helping our country to move in a direction where we work things out peacefully and get us all on a better path so we're not in this war. Because one, it's scary, right? I think all of us are scared. We're scared of being at war with each other. We're scared of, what comes next. We're scared of how we got to this point. I think a lot of us are looking at, how do we lose our way, right? And we need to, again, just start thinking about what we put out again comes back. And me too, right? I'm not excluded from that. I've had plenty of ornery moments in the last 6 years. I'm overcoming that with, once again, forgiving. So anyhow, that's just the very beginning of the energy read. And again, you have time to think about it because this isn't going to happen until October. But these events are so big and they have such a profound impact. It's nice to know ahead of time what's going on. Eclipses will easily impact the energy for 6 months, and some of them will last for several years, depending upon how cataclysmic the particular thing is. And in this case, I have a feeling it's going to be pretty cataclysmic. So anyhow, just take it to heart. Don't watch if it makes you nervous. That's not, or ill at ease. That's not the intent. It's just to enlighten. And, I know people have been curious about the astrology, and I'm just doing what I've done for a long time, just reading the energy. All right. That being said, gratitude to everybody in the country, all the Christians praying for me, people solving cases, good people who walk their talk and talk their walk, and for everybody else as well. And may God continue to bless our country. We have rough times ahead that I already see, but we have the smarts, the ability, the American spirit, the knowledge, the know-how to get us through this if we elect to do it wisely. And that's where we have to really come together right at this time and stop with the war, stop with the chaos, stop with the big lies and the cheating and all that, because we're going to just fall apart if we do that. We need to come to the table. We need to sit down. We need to work together, and we need to craft a plan that works for everybody. All right. God bless. Have a great day. Oh, and also, I am going to just say this because I keep hearing things like I kill animals. So I am going to address that, because not only I could never do that, ever. I helped one of my kitties birth her babies. She came and got me to go crawl in the closet with her. I'm just going to, because I don't like some of the things I've heard. I had a garden in California, and I was drinking coffee. I could hear a strange noise emanating from the garden. I looked out, and there is a large deer in the yard, painfully looking at a baby deer who was caught in our garden fence, stuck at the hips. So what we did was we went out and we tried, while the mother sat there and watched us, we tried to push the baby through the slats in the fence. And meanwhile, it's kicking and making noise and very stressed, right? It was a pretty stressful thing. And we could not push it through nor pull it out. So what we did was we had to go get power tools, and we had to dismantle the fence while the mother stood and watched. And we did eventually free the fawn, who had tried so hard to get through the fence that he had rubbed his hip bones raw. And as he grew into an adult, we could actually tell who he was, because he visited our yard all the time, by the markings on his hips. But we saved a baby deer. On my 28th birthday, I also swam with dolphins. And it was a spur of the moment thing. I don't usually take risks with animals, but for some reason, I just knew this was going to be okay at this particular point. And it was my birthday. We were out in a boat. The dolphins loved to play around the boat. I could see them playing. I asked my husband, hey, please stop the boat. I want to get in the water. And he really didn't want me to do it, but I really did. So, me, I'm going to do what I want to do. So I got in the water, and the dolphins all came around in a big circle all around me. And my husband was looking down. He's like, oh my gosh. He said, don't move, whatever you do. They're in a big pod, all encircling you. And it was one of the most magical things that I have ever done. And it turned out to be perfectly safe. It was perfectly wonderful. If you read my book, Sacred Ground, How Climate Change is Devastating America's National Parks, you will find that I have a lovely connection to animals, and I certainly would never hurt one. So we're dispelling myths as well as doing astrology. All right, God bless. Everybody have a great day. To those who are facing dire circumstances, uh, severe hardships, uh, difficulties due to actions taken. God bless. I wish you all well. I really do. I'm so sorry that all of this has come to pass. More than you could ever possibly know. Didn't have a thing to do with it. You should have waited and listened in the house. If you had done that, you would have known. But anyhow, it is what it is. And my thoughts are with you. And I wish the best for everyone involved. All right. Peace and blessings. God bless.